So this video is about this product, the blowgun from BGS, and it's part number 8982. So I'm making this video because if you're like me, before you buy anything you go online and do a bit of research to make sure the product's right for you, and Amazon reviews are great for that, but videos just give you a better idea of how a product is built and what it feels like. So that's the point of this, just to help anyone else if you're thinking about buying this. I bought this one on Amazon and I'll put the link to it in the description below, and it was £21 including VAT, something like that. So it comes in this retail packaging, and there's the information on the back, and again the same repeated on the front. So this Venturi nozzle was unscrewed, so you just screw that up. I think it's got a little O-ring in there. Let me just double check that. Not easy to do this one-handed. Yeah, there's a little O-ring in there. If you're not sure what these are, it's just basically a tube, and you've got your air being blown through the middle, and because you've got these holes around the side, it draws extra air in to give you that greater airflow. And some of them sort of have quite short tubes, but I chose this particular product because this tube was much longer and it's got a much greater airflow, 1,200 litres per minute, which seemed to be the greatest volume of air for anything at this sort of price range. In the pack you get this airline fitting, which I don't use this, I use the old-fashioned PCL type, so I've screwed in my own fitting at the end. But I have noticed this new, I think these call these Euro fittings, have got a much greater diameter, internal diameter there, so that's going to get a much better airflow through than I do with the PCL fitting. So obviously I'm not going to get the sort of airflow through this that potentially you could do if you use the wider bore fittings. So I've never owned one of these before. That's what I normally use, standard sort of nozzle, but long reach one. And these can be a bit too vicious at certain times because you're getting a very fine jet of air out the end, and I thought I'll try one of these because I've got a feeling this is just going to be more useful for general use. So I haven't owned this long. As you can see, it's still very clean and looks like new, so I can't sort of comment on the reliability or the build quality too much, other than that it is all plastic, but it feels pretty good, and that spring action is nice, and I'm sure that is plenty sturdy enough. Compared to my PCL, that's a genuine PCL trigger gun here, it feels nicer than that, to be honest. That handle does feel a little bit fragile. I think the spring is too strong in this, really. This feels great. So yeah, at the end of the day you get what you pay for. It's only 20 quid, but I prefer to have a plastic one than a metal one, to be honest. So it's going to be very difficult to show what these are like on a camera. So we can sort of get a feeling of noise, and what I thought I'd do is just blow some of the leaves across the workshop floor here. So this is my normal nozzled air gun. So that's the noise. So the far side of that ramp where those leaves were, that's a good 10 foot away. So let's just try the new one. Hope that gives you an indication of the noise. It is much louder, probably twice as loud, but of course it's got a lot more air blowing through it. And I don't know whether the camera's picking that up, but I'm blowing leaves off the floor, workshop floor there, which are 10 foot, 6, 12, yeah, 12 foot away, something like that, whereas that just wouldn't send air that far. So obviously blowing air that far does have limited use, but it depends what you're using your air gun for, of course. But it's quite amazing that just adding a tube to the end of your nozzle, I know it's got these holes here which is allowing extra air to be drawn through, makes such a difference, because it's the same amount of air coming through the hose and air gun. It's just drawing extra air through these holes, and the difference is huge. So obviously I'm not getting the best out of this because of my PCL fittings I'm using. It's about half the diameter of the one they provide, but I'm not going to change all of my tools to this new style just for that. But anyway, I think in reality this is going to be the gun that sits on the end of the hose all the time rather than that, because I think this is more useful for the sort of general purpose cleaning, you know, blowing dust off things, cobwebs, cleaning around an engine bay or whatever, blasting water off things, because it's not so brutal as a little jet of air that you can easily blow off paint if the paint's a bit flaking, or a bit flaky should I say, or blow stickers off things that you don't want to remove. I think this is going to be the general purpose air gun that I actually end up using all the time. And I think for sort of generally cleaning, like blowing the leaves off the workshop floor, this is that is just so much better than using the fine jet nozzle gun. I could blast the whole workshop floor in just 2 sweeps, whereas that I would end up going quite methodically across the floor to cover all the area. So yeah, it makes a huge difference. So there's not much more I can say about a blowgun. They're pretty simple things. Just to recap, this is the BGS 8982 and I got this on Amazon, and I'll put the link in the description below. So if you found this video useful, please do click that thumbs up, that really does help. Also subscribe if you want to see future product reviews. I review anything that I just think people might find handy. Generally products, well, I bought them myself, and I found that sort of information about learning what a product is really like was sort of just missing that out there on the internet. Okie doke, I'll see you on the next video.